As Harry Carey used to once say, hello again, everybody. We're back with you and milestone series here. We've reached series 150. It's been a great ride so far and looking forward to so much more. We now pick up another series for you. The last one we played, if you were with us, very, very good with the Cleveland Naps pulling it out in 7 games. And introducing now 2 brand new teams to match up against each other. Again, Milestone Series 150 here on Out of the Park Baseball 20. Ready to go, and let's get an introduction quickly of these teams. Introducing another team from the wartime era, the 1944 Chicago Cubs. They're a year away from winning the pennant in 45, and the 44 team started to put some things together. Charlie Grimm was the manager for most of the year, and the team had record is 75 and 79, so a little bit below 500. Not quite where they would eventually get, but some of the stars of the 45 team are here on the team in 44. Phil Cavarretta, you can see there at first base at 27. He hit 321, drove in 82 with 15 triples. So quite a year for Cavarretta and one of the leaders of the team, as well as Stan Hack, who's at third base, 282. He's at 34 years old. Had a lot of good years with the Cubs and winding it down a little bit. And Bill Nicholson, an incredible year, 33 home runs, 122 RBIs. He slugged .545 with a 935 OPS, 287 average, scored 116 runs. Heck of a year for Nicholson. Andy Pafko, you see there, you might recognize, he's only 23 at 269. He's just coming into his own. He drove in 62. Don Johnson with 71 RBIs. He hit 278. Dewey Williams doing the catching. And Lenny Maruo struggled a bit at 212. So he wasn't a big part of the offense. But with Pafko, Nicholson, and Cavarretta, the Cubs did have some things going for them. Roy Hughes also had 478 at-bats. He stole 16 bases, so some speed on the bases for the Cubs as well. Looking at their pitching, Hank Wise was the man with the most innings, 257 for him. He was 16 and 15 with the 315, 3 shutouts, even came in late and saved the game. So Wise, a big part of the staff. And at 35 years old, Claude Passaw still getting it done. Very impressive, 15 and 9 with a 289 ERA, allowing 8 home runs and striking out 89. Bob Chipman, 9 and 9 for him at a 349. There you see 37-year-old Paul Derringer. Decent season in his 18 or 16 starts. He had a 4.15 ERA. Looking further down there, Bill Fleming, a number of starts. Hy Vandenberg, Paul Erickson. It goes from there. Not a terrible staff. Much like their hitting, the Cubs were pretty average all the way through. They would, of course, put it together a year later, so the potential's there for this team to be a lot better and to be a tough opponent for somebody down the line here. And who that somebody is going to be an actual postseason team. It's from 1984. Kansas City Royals, who won 84 games and won the AL West in 84. They're also a year away from winning the pennant. And actually in 85, they would actually win it all. So Dick Hauser also is building a heck of a team here, maybe a year premature. They lost in the ALCS to the eventual champion Tigers. But they did get into the postseason. And, of course, every Royals team of this era begins with George Brett, who didn't play in a number of games. He only played in 104, dealing with some injury issues. He did hit 284, so maybe a bit of a subpar year for Brett. Hal McRae, 303. At the DH spot, he also only played in 106 games, and he's at 38 years old already. But Willie Wilson is also at the top of that order. He had 24 doubles, 9 triples, 47 steals, hit 301, definitely a star. Frank White, 271, 17 long ones, 56 RBIs. And Steve Balboni at first base, 27 years old, 28 long ones, 244. He did strike out 139 times. Darryl Motley, another speedy player, 15 and 70 for him. He slugged at 441, so that's pretty impressive. Pat Sheridan there with 53 RBIs, 283. And Don Slott, the catcher, he hit 264 in his minimal work. George Orta there, he played in a number of games, 122 for him. He hit 23 doubles and 7 triples. He slugged 457. So a good year for Orta off the bench. We might see a lot of him. So if Brett actually plays well in the 7-game series and some of these other players put it together, Balboni and the likes, this Royals team has proven it can win, and they actually did put it together somewhat in '84, but also their pitching was somewhat effective. Definitely Bud Black came to pitch in '84, 17-12 with a great 3.12 ERA. He had 1 shutout, 8 complete games, allowed 89 earned, 22 homers, and struck out 140. Mark Gubicza, at only 21 years old, the great career for him was still ahead of him at 4.05 on the ERA, but 10-14 he started in 29 games, struck out 111, so Gubicza, a very good arm. Larry Gura, he was getting up there at 36, 5.18 ERA. He had a little bit of a rough year, definitely allowing 102 runs and 26 whopping home runs. So we'll see how Gura is used. Charlie Leibrandt, 11-7, a good year for him, 363 in his 23 starts. Mike Jones and lefty Danny Jackson at only 22. Also options for Hauser on this team. And Dan Quisenberry, 6-3 with 44 saves. Heck of a year for Quisenberry, one of the best closers during this time. Someone very, very difficult to get a read on. And let us not forget Brett Saberhagen at 20 years old. He was 10-11, pitched in 157 innings, 18 starts. We'll probably see a lot of Saberhagen. He was coming into his own before, of course, his dominant year of '85. So at 20 years old, we'll see how Saberhagen is used. So the Royals, a good team. The Cubbies, a good team as well. So that, I think, makes the series coming up a good one. It's going to be the Royals who get the home field advantage as they had a winning record. They will play the first 2 at Royal Stadium before we head out to Chicago in 1944. And Wrigley Field for the middle portion. But the Royals will get the home field advantage moving forward here. And we're going to set the scene now for game number 1. Looking at the starters, it's Claude Passaw, the veteran for the Cubs, taking them out against Buddy Black. Two good pitchers going at each other, and we'll see which lineup can get hot here early as we'll start the series on the turf in KC. And the best-of-7 series now coming right at you. So let's head live to Royal Stadium for Game 1 of this best-of-7. Again, it's the 44 Cubbies facing off against the 84 Royals. So looking live at Royal Stadium, here's Don Slott. We're in the bottom of the 2nd inning, 2 on, 1 out. 1-2 pitch, and this is strike 3. Slott goes down looking. He looks at the fastball for a strike 3. We move to the 4th inning, still scoreless. Nicholson for the Cubs facing Buddy Black, 1 on. And Nicholson hits this one deep to right field. That's in the corner. That's going to get down. Extra bases for Nicholson. Run around in 3rd, and the Cubs will take the lead here, 1-0 in the 4th inning. On the Nicholson double into the corner in right field. 5th inning now. Andy Pafko facing Buddy Black. 2-2 pitch. And this ball's lifted deep to left. Could be out of here. And it is. Andy Pafko. Home run to left field. 2-0 Cubs. They jump out in front here in Game 1. That one's over 400 feet. And now the Cubs continue with the threat here. 2 outs against Black. Don Johnson up with runners on the corners. Here's the pitch, and this ball's lined to right field. That's going to get down. More runs for the Cubs. Runner moving to 3rd. He'll beat the throw. 3-0 Chicago. Johnson with an RBI single. 4-0 our score as we move to the 7th inning. Nicholson back up there, 2 on. Larry Gura has come in the pitch now, the veteran. Chicago in complete control, and Nicholson deep to right on a rope. That ball is gone. 3-run jack by Nicholson. This is a 7-0 game. All Cubs here in Game 1. What a game Nicholson's showing, and he took that ball out of here. He ripped it off Gura. 7-0, bottom of the 9th, ready to wrap it up. Claude Passaw on. Continuing to pitch here, and Jorge Orta, the last man, as Passaw looks to close the door on this game. Fly ball to center. Should be caught. It is. It is a shutout for the Cubs. 7-0 in Game 1. They completely control this one and defeat The Royals on their home field. What a pitching performance by Claude Passaw. He pitches the complete game shutout. Not something we've seen every day. Tough to do, but he gets it done. 7 hits allowed, 5 Ks, 2 walks, and 0 runs allowed in this one, folks. Great game by Passaw. Nicholson we saw with the home run, also a double, 4 RBIs. Don Johnson 3 for 5 with 2 runs scored. And all Cubbies here in Game 1 to start this series off in the best way for them. Kansas City's going to have to put this one behind them fairly quickly here, as the series will not wait. It moves on, and Hank Weiss for the Cubs will take the mound against the young Mark Gubicza as Game 2 awaits, and the Royals look to right the ship after being blanked by the Cubbies in Game 1. So getting ready now to head out for Game 2 to Kansas City's Royal Stadium. Let's see what happens, and if the Royals indeed can respond after a loss in the opener. Game 2 on the way here. We are in the second inning, first and second for Peterman, who's facing Gubicza. And there's a strikeout. Gubicza gets him swinging. That's the second out of the inning. So we'll move to the third. Bottom of the frame, Steve Balboni up there with a man on third and 1 out against Wise. And this ball's hit into left field, and it's going to be in there for a single. Wilson will score, and the Royals get their first run of the series on the Balboni single. Runners on the corners now. Here's Orta. 2 outs. This ball's drilled to center field. That's going to get down. Another run scored for the Royals. They get up 2-0. Orta with an RBI single. 3-0 our score into the 6th inning, and it's the Cubs' turn now to be in danger of being shut out. Gubicza has it going here. Stan Hack with a man on third. And he takes one way outside, so it's going to be first and second here. Nobody out. Cubs looking to rally. Alessandro is the hitter. He hits it back to the mound. Plays made at second. Relay to first. Double play there. Twin killing. Over the third goes the player, but the Royals get out of the inning, and we move to the 8th. Still 3-0 Royals. Goodman's the hitter. And Goodman lines a single right back up the middle. It's only the 4th hit for the Cubs. And Williams the hitter against Gubicza. This ball's hit to second base. Out at second. Relay to first. Double play for KC. They got it going on this time. Bottom of the 8th inning is George Brett up there against Vandenberg. And Brett is going to hit this into the corner in left field up against the wall. It is a double for Brett. But we're into the 9th inning now. 1 out. Runner on first. Nicholson at the plate against the Royals closer Quisenberry. And this ball's hit up the middle. It'll get through for a single. So runners first and second. 1 out here for the Cubs. They trail 3-0. And Andy Pafko has a chance. Try to get his team back into it. But Pafko will strike out swinging. Quisenberry comes across his body and gets him on a 3-2 pitch. And Cavaretta now the last hope for the Cubs. 2-1 pitch. This ball's hit to third. Plays made there to first by George Brett, and that will do it. The Royals come right back and shut out the Cubs, doing exactly what the Cubs did to them in Game 1. They come back and do in Game number 2. Mark Gubicza was the man that really pitched well. He went 8 strong, allowing no runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks, 4 hits. Hank Weiss did okay for the Cubs, but he takes the loss. Balboni 2 for 4 with an RBI for Kansas City, and Dan Quisenberry came in the 9th, made sure the job was done, and just like that, 2 shutouts here, one in Game 1 by the Cubs and 1 in Game 2 by the Royals, setting up now a best of 5 as the first 2 games are a split. The Cubs can't be too upset with that performance in KC as we head now to Wrigley Field for the middle portion of the series. Brett Saberhagen, the 20-year-old, is going to take the mound for KC. against the veteran, 37-year-old Paul Derringer for the Cubs. So youth versus veteran. Game number 3, we're tied 1-1 apiece. Series getting more and more interesting. We're ready to go as Wrigley Field will be the setting. Game number 3 coming up live. So here we are, second inning from Wrigley Field. Phil Cavarretta up for the home team, runner on first base. And Cavarretta lifts this one into the corner up against the wall and right. That's going to be extra bases. Run around in third. Phil's going to have a triple, and the Cubs will take the lead here 1-0 on the Cavarretta triple in the second inning. 2-0, the score is holding up here in the fifth inning. Pat Sheridan facing Paul Derringer. This ball drilled deep into right center field at the wall. This ball's over the fence. Home run. Pafko watches it go. Sheridan a home run. Deep into the bleachers, and it is 2-1 now. The Royals get on the board. And here's Concepcion with 2 outs. And he hits it hard near the same spot, but this one will stay in the yard. It goes up against the wall. Concepcion hustling, however, he'll make it to third with 2 outs, representing the tying run here. 3-bagger. The Royals fail to score. We'll move now to the 6th with George Brett up there and a man on second, 1 out, with a chance to try to tie this game up. And Brett will line this one to center field. That ball's got some carry. It is caught, however. Great catch in center field by Pafko. Runner will tag and advance. 2 outs. Balboni now against Derringer. And Balboni hits a pop-up. That should be playable on the infield. And the Cubs holding on here with a 2-1 lead as we move to the later part of this ball game. To the 7th. Frank White now facing Bob Chipman, the new Cub pitcher. Derringer did a great job on the day, but Chipman lets up a shot here. This was up against the wall. It's going to be a double for White to lead off the 7th inning, so a good start. Sheridan now up at the plate, who's already homered. He'll strike out for the first out of the inning. A 1-2 pitch by Chipman. Gets the job done. And now Don Slott, the catcher, at the plate. This one's inside, a 3-0 count, and he walks him. So the Royals threatening here, first and second for Hal McRae. A very tough hitter, and McRae lines one to center field, but this should be playable. Coming over is Pafko. He makes it for the second out of the inning. And Greg Pryor now has a chance. Pryor will hit this one to first. And the Cubs get out of it as we hit the 7th inning stretch in Chicago. It's 2-1 Cubs at this point. And we're into the 8th inning. Willie Wilson will be up there. Paul Erickson now is the Cubs pitcher. Wilson strikes out swinging, so the Cubs avoid Wilson from getting on base here to start the inning. 2 outs now in the 8th. George Brett at the plate. Still a tight 1-run game. And Brett goes to second. Play made there. And that'll do it for the Royals here in the 8th inning. So we are moving right along here to the bottom of the 8th. Roy Hughes facing Mark Huseman. This ball's lined up the middle for a single. Leadoff hit here for Chicago as they try to get some insurance runs. D'Alessandro's the hitter. And D'Alessandro will go fair down the left field line. That's going to get down with only 1 out. So a runner now rounding third. He's going to try to score. Here's the throw to the plate. Safe. Big insurance run for the Cubs. They go up 3-1 on the 2-bagger by D'Alessandro. And with 2 outs now, Cavarretta looking to build even more on the lead. Cavarretta will line a single to left field. That'll get down. 1 run's going to score. 4-1 Cubs, the 11th hit for Chicago, and Cabarretta comes through. We're in the 9th now. Red Lynn, the man, trying to close the door. Frank White at the plate with 1 out. And White goes deep to left field. This one's near the fence, and it's going to go. Frank White, the second baseman, with the home run here in the 9th, making it 4-2. 2 outs for Don Slott. Chicago still looking to close this game out. There's a strikeout. That'll do it. Chicago takes game 3 at home, 4-2. Another efficient pitching performance by the Cubs, just like they did it in game 1. Although not a shutout, definitely good enough. Paul Derringer beats Brett Saberhagen on this day. Both pitchers went 6, pitched decently, but Derringer and his bullpen were the better part of this game. Phil Cabarretta, 2 for 4, 2 RBIs. He had that big triple. Cubs with 11 hits. Lynn with the save. And back and forth we go in this series. Now Chicago takes the lead again. The Cubs have no intentions of being the pushover here and the underdogs. They're fighting it hard against the Royals. And Kansas City now once again needs to rebound. They'll put Charlie Leibrandt on the hill against Bill Fleming. Game number 4 from Wrigley Field as this series continues to excite. Both teams going back and forth. Let's see if Game 4 continues the trend. Will the Royals pick up a win and tie this up? I wouldn't bet against them, but it's the Cubs who are going to try to move out to a 3-1 lead. Game number 4 coming at you from Wrigley Field. So top first inning, 2 outs. Steve Balboni up there with Willie Wilson on first base. This ball's drilled hard and deep to left field. Looking up, this ball's gonna go out of the ballpark. Home run for Balboni. He's showing off his power there. 2-0 Royals right off the bat here in this game. Cubs coming back here, bottom of the first inning against Leibrandt. We got Bill Nicholson up there with 1 out, 2 on. This one back to the hill. This is out at second. Relay to first. The relay is in time, and the Royals turn a double play. 2-0 remains the score. Second inning for Bill Fleming, man on first and second. Outside ball 4, so the base is loaded for the Cubs here. 2 outs. Second inning, 2-0 our score, and Roy Hughes in a big spot. Hughes hits a liner past the first baseman. Balboni can't make the play. 2 runs might score. Here's the throw of the plate. Gonna be late. 2-2. We are tied up on the RBI single by Roy Hughes in the right field, making our game even. We'll move to the 3rd. Wilson now trying to get the Royals back on top if he can. Deep to center field. This ball is going to drop. Wilson with great speed. He'll make it in the 2nd with a double. Leadoff double here in the 3rd inning. Balboni now with 2 outs at the plate. And Balboni will lift this one to right. That ball's dropping fast. It will drop. Balboni another RBI. Wilson scores easily. 3-2 Royals. They get back on top here in the 3rd inning. We'll move to the 4th. 2 on, 2 out. Wilson back at the dish. Big spot in this game. There's a walk, so Willie Wilson walks, and the base is loaded with 2 outs. And Darryl Motley now, the man of the moment. Motley hits it back to the mound. Play will be made there, so the Cubs get out of the 4th inning unscathed. They're still trailing 3-2. We'll move to the 5th. Gasway, the pitcher for Chicago, and George Brett is the hitter. Nobody out here in the 5th inning. This ball drilled hard and deep to right field. Looking up, and Brett got all of that one. He goes deep. Solo home run. Line drive variety for George Brett, and it is 4-2 Royals. They now have a 2-run lead. Alessandro facing Leibrandt. We're in the bottom of the 5th. There's a walk, so with 2 outs, Chicago trying to bounce back here in the 5th inning, and it's up to Bill Nicholson. Pickoff play on. Wilson takes it low, so that'll load the bases. Another big spot in this game and this series. Bases loaded for Cavaretta. Brandt needs to get out of it. This one's hit to third. Nice play by Brett. They get the force, and the 4-2 game remains. Big clutch pitching by Charlie Brandt. And we move to the 6th inning now. Brandt's still in there, facing Andy Pafko. Pafko hits a ground ball through the middle. Base hit, leadoff hit here in the 6th inning. And Stan Hack, the hitter. Hack lines a single. That'll get through to right field. Runner moving to third, so the Cubs, 1st and 3rd. Nobody out here in the 6th inning. Working well for them so far. Davey Williams in a big spot as well here. And Williams will hit this one too short. It's going to be a tough play. They make it at first. The run will score, however. It is 4-3. Hack moves to second. Well, Schuster has a chance to tie this game. Schuster will take ball 4. So Larry Gura in here now to face Roy Hughes. 1 out, 2 on, 4-3 ball game here at Wrigley Field. And this ball's lined to left field. That'll get down for a hit. So that's going to load the bases. It was hit just a little bit too hard for the runner to score. But the Cubs do get that run across. And here's D'Alessandro now, bases loaded, 1 out, tie game. And that ball gets away. It's going to score a runner. And the Cubs here putting together a big 6th inning. They now take the lead on the wild pitch, 5-4. And there's a walk, so the base is loaded. Chicago continues here in the 6th inning. Nicholson, the hitter. Gura having all types of problems. And this ball lined in the left field. That's going to get down for a hit. Another run going to score. Chicago up 6-4. What a turnaround here for the Cubs. 7th inning, they have a 2-run lead now. Bob Chipman back on for Chicago, and Willie Wilson, the hitter. 7th inning. This is back to the mound. Tough play to make. Wilson's going to beat the throw. Infield hit for Wilson. 9th hit. Here's Darryl Motley. Motley will take strike 3 there. He's done on the 1-2 pitch by Chipman. 8th inning. Frank White facing Paul Erickson as the Cubs pen is in full effect. This ball's lined to center field. That's a leadoff hit. A good start for the Royals. Let's see if Sheridan can get the job done here with a man on. He's 1 for 3 in this ball game. But he strikes out here, so that is the first out of the 8th inning. And Slott's the hitter. Slott will strike out. So he gets caught looking on a bad pitch there. He went around, should say. And we move to the 9th inning now. 6-4 our score. Erickson still in there. Orta the hitter. Nobody out. Cubs up 2. And Orta will get a single up the middle, so he'll start off the 9th with a base runner and Willie Wilson up there. Red Lynn back on for the Cubs to try to close this one out. This is popped up on the infield. That should be playable. So a big out there. Motley the hitter against Lynn. Motley representing the tying run. Strike 3 there by Lynn. He got him. He got him swinging there. So that is the 2nd out. And it's up to George Brett now. Representing the tying run here with Lynn on the mound. 2 outs. Ground ball back to the mound. Lynn makes the play, and the Cubs pull it off here. They win 6-4 to take a 3-1 series lead. They've won both games now at Wrigley Field. Games 3 and 4 go to Chicago. The Cubs continue to play good baseball. Balboni and Wilson had nice games for the Royals. Roy Hughes a nice game for the Cubs. 3 for 5, 2 RBIs, but it was that 4-run 6th inning by Chicago that turned everything around. Brandt got into some trouble. They brought in Larry Gura. He wasn't very good at all. Let the lead slip away. Gazaway gets the win, and Lynn the save, as we mentioned, giving Chicago a 3-1 game series lead. And in command now as the Royals are going to be up against it. The favorites just having all types of trouble with the Cubs. It just seems like when the Cubs need to come through either on the mound or at the plate, they've been able to do it. And now Chicago with a chance to close out this series. They're going to send Claude Passaw to the mound. Passaw was brilliant in Game 1. He'll try to do it again. I'm sure the Royals won't be happy to see him. But they'll send Buddy Black back on the mound. They're trying to get the series back to KC. One game at a time, as they say, but it's going to be a long road for the Royals. We'll see if the Cubs can close it out at home. Game number 5 coming up. It's 3-1 Cubs and a chance to close it. Let's head to Wrigley Field. Scoreless game here. We are into the 4th inning. Stan Hack at the plate with 2 on. Hack hits a ground ball to second. That'll be played there for the out. That'll end the inning. The Cubs can't get anything across in the 5th. Good pitching matchup and still scoreless all the way to 7th here. Buddy Black pitching extremely well against Claude Passaw, and Passaw especially after his Game 1 start getting it done. But let's move to the 7th. Evie Williams, the hitter. And Williams will go to second. That's going to be maybe 2. It is a double play there by KC to end this inning. So the scoreless battle continues here between these two teams. 8th inning. Passaw has now pitched 16 scoreless innings. What a performance by Passaw. And Sheridan now, the hitter. He hits it up the middle. That'll be a base hit. So a leadoff hit for the Royals. Onslaught at the plate. Slott's going to go to center field. That ball's going to be caught. Concepcion, the hitter. Strike out again there. Passaw gets him swinging. 2 outs. That's the 11th strikeout for Passaw. That's 17 scoreless. Unbelievable. Buddy Black now facing Don Johnson here in the 8th. This ball's hit to second. Nice pickup there and play. So we'll move to the 9th. Still scoreless here at Wrigley Field. Willie Wilson facing Passaw. This one's lined to right field. So there's a hit for Wilson. You can bet the Royals have seen enough of Passaw. They would love to get him out of this game. Earl Motley now at the plate with Wilson on first. The speed is there. But there's another great pitch. 1-2 pitch gets Motley looking. That's the 12th strikeout. Here's George Brett. This ball's hit in front of the mound. Play made at second. Relay to first. Double play there. Finishes off the 9th inning. Passaw continues his unbelievable throwing. I don't think we've seen pitching like this yet in any of our series. What a performance by him. But right there with him have been Buddy Black and the Royals. They go to their pen now with Dan Quisenberry coming in. It's a must-win for the Royals, so they're going to pull out all the stops here. This ball is hit to first, and the play made there by Balboni. Cabaretta, the hitter. Bottom 9th now. This ball's hit up the middle, a base hit. So Cabaretta, with 2 outs, gets on first base, and Andy Pafko with a chance to end this game. Quisenberry delivers. This ball's hit to third. Play is made, not in time. It's an error out there. Brett can't handle it. So a big spot here for Stan Hack. He hits it to center field. On the run, however, to make the plays Willie Wilson. So we're going to extra innings. Scoreless ball game. 0-0. So believe it or not, fans, we move all the way to the 14th inning. Still scoreless. What an epic game we have going on here. Darryl Motley at the plate here in the 14th against Chicago pitching. It's Ed Hanzawiski coming in. Scoreless game. Unbelievable battle. Here's a looper. That's a base hit. Can anybody break through here? Motley's on first base. George Brett, the hitter. Hanzawiski delivers. That ball is drilled to left field, way back there. Going out, though, to make the catch is going to be D'Alessandro, he's got it. So 1 out. Runner on second for Balboni. Balboni lines this one to right field, but on the run to make the play is going to be Nicholson, so there are 2 outs. Frank White now the man at the plate. Runner in scoring position. This one's hit to center field. It is going to be caught. Nice play by the shortstop. Hughes has got it. Bottom of the 14th. Frank Willis now pitching for Kansas City. This ball is hit to right field. On the run to make the play there is Sheridan. 2 outs here for Roy Hughes. Hughes hits it to short. Play is made. We move to the 15th inning. We're still scoreless in this ball game. Absolutely unbelievable. What pitching we've seen. Pat Sheridan now the hitter in the 15th. And he hits it down that right field line. That ball's going to get down. Sheridan's going to make it to second. So a leadoff double here by Sheridan. Only the 10th hit by the Royals. We're in the 15th inning. Let's see if they try to move him. John Waithen, the hitter, against John Burroughs. This ball's hit into the gap. It's going to get down, and the Royals break through. This is a run-scoring double here in the 15th inning. Sheridan crosses the plate. Waithen does it. He gets a double here to make it 1-0. Concepcion now the hitter. Concepcion goes into right field. So with nobody out, runners on the corners. Dennis Leonard has come in. We'll move to the 9th. It is 2-0. KC breaks through. This ball's hit past third into the outfield, so a hit here for Chicago to lead off the 5th inning. D'Alessandro now the hitter. He takes it outside, so hold your horses. We got first and second here in the 15th. Nicholson the hitter. Nicholson strikes out on a fastball for the first out. Couldn't move the runners, and Cavaretta up with 1 out, 2 on, 2-0 game. Cavaretta goes to center field, a base hit. Runners are going to hold, and ladies and gentlemen, the base is loaded here with only 1 out. And Andy Pafko in a huge spot up against Dennis Leonard. Can he get the job done? Here's the 2-0 pitch. This one's hit back to the mound. Play will be made at home. They get the force, turn it to first, double play. Kansas City's going to win this ball game 2-0. A great double play started off by the pitcher who went home, and the fire to first turned it indeed. And just like we've seen all series long, defense is the name of the game, but even more than that, folks, pitching's the name of the game. The Kansas City Royals shut out the Cubs for 15 innings on their home field to take this one 2-0, scoring twice in that 15th inning. Claude Passaw has pitched 18 innings of scoreless ball, 12 strikeouts. Buddy Black went toe-to-toe with Passaw before the pen took over, and Pat Sheridan made the difference there with that big double in the 15th. He was 2 for 4 with 2 walks as well. Leonard came in to close the door in the 15th. That double play at the end was the big difference, and we saw all kinds of drama, but definitely a game for the ages that remained scoreless to the very end. You can see here this was a 5-hour and 10-minute ball game with almost no runs, and fans say low-scoring games are not what they want to see. Well, this was an exciting one, and they might change their mind to see some great defense and pitching that went along with this victory. So bottom line, the Royals win to stay alive. The series is 3-2 in favor of Chicago, but we are moving back now to Kansas City where we started the series, and the Royals are going to try their epic comeback here if they can to win the last 2 and steal the series. Actually, it would be the last 3 because they won the Game 5 we just witnessed. But let's see what happens in Game 6 as Hank Wise faces Mark Gubicza. Gubicza was awesome in his start in Game 2. He's going to have to do it again as the Cubs, hungry to end the series, will be coming after him. So let's see what happens. Game 6 from Kansas City. Cubs and Royals entangled here in a great battle. Let's see if the Royals can stay alive. Going live now to Game 6. Back at Royal Stadium, Hank Wise on the hill, George Brett up with a man on second. First inning, goes up middle for a base hit. Run around in third. The throw of the plate's going to be late. And George bottom second. Now Pat Sheridan with the man on. Sheridan lines this one deep to right. Looking up. This ball is going to leave the yard. 2-run home run for Sheridan. Make it 3-0 Royals. Do or die on this night in Kansas City. And the Royals have come out in style. Cubs trying to answer here in the third. Davey Williams, the hitter. He looks at strike 3 with 2 on. So Gubaza got him there. Got him looking. And it's 4-0 as the game moves to the 8th inning. Stan Hack up there with the man on. Royals continue their dominant pitching going back to the last game. This ball is hit on the track all the way back, and the Cubs end that scoreless run as Stan Hack hits a 2-run home run, 379 feet. This is now a 4-2 game. We'll move to the 9th inning, however. Quisenberry on to try to extend this series. It's a 2-run game. Bill Nicholson, the hitter. The Quiz coming in here. Sidearm delivery. And he walks him. So Nicholson gets on. Runner on. Pafko representing the tying run. And Joe Beckwith has come in. And he gets his man. So Beckwith strikes out Pafko. Cavaretta now the hitter. Cubs hoping for some kind of a miracle. This is hit up middle to second. Relay and double play, and for the second straight game, KC ends it with a twin killing and a nice one. Their gloves have been outstanding. They get 14 hits in this game and win it 4-2. Their pitching has just been lights out, and they get it done to force a Game 7 and tie this series at 3. Mark Gubaza, outstanding, 6 Ks, went into the 8th inning. Sheridan, another great game, 2 for 4 with a home run. And Slot as well, 2 for 3 with a ribby and a run. Beckwith gets to save his first of the series. And just like a epic feature film, we are into now the dramatic finish, tied up 3 games apiece. It's been a great back and forth series. It's all going to be culminated in one game. Chicago and KC split the first 2. Chicago jumped up 3-1, and then the Royals, after winning a 15-inning thriller, come back and win Game 6 and are really poised to try to steal this series and come all the way back as the favorites. They are the favorites now, playing at home in Game 7, and Paul Derringer will take the mound against 20-year-old Brett Saberhagen. Let's see if the legend of Saberhagen can help this Royals team pull the turnaround and win it. Or will the Cubs do what they were poised to do with a 3-1 lead and actually take it on the road? So everything on the line, nothing like a Game 7 in sports, especially in baseball. It's on the line here as we head to Royal Stadium. One game for all the marbles. Cubs and Royals coming up. Here comes Game 7. We are in the bottom of the first inning with 2 outs. Steve Balboni facing Paul Derringer. And Balboni's going to go deep on a line to left field, and the Royals are going to go up first in this crucial battle. 1-0 on the Balboni homer, like a rope down the left field line here in the very first inning. Moving to the bottom of the third now. Frank White, the hitter, with a man on first. White's going to line it into the corner. That's going to be fair into left field. White is heading to second. Runner heading to home. He's going to score. And it's 2-0 on the Frank White double here in the third inning. So the Royals up on top early. And they're not done yet in this inning. Darryl Motley with a man on second. And Motley's going to line this one deep to left. Way back there. And out of here, Paul Derringer getting knocked around. The Cubs now in a big hole. 5-0 make it here in the third inning. Kansas City in Game 7 is on fire. Charlie Gasway has come in now in relief to try to put out the fire. Pat Sheridan is going to line this one into the gap in right center. Another run's going to score. Sheridan with the double, 2 coming in. Chicago in deep, deep dire straits. It is the Royals who are up now on the 2-run double by Sheridan, 7-0. 7-1 here in the 4th. Saberhagen on the mound against Cavaretta. They're 2 outs. There's ball 4, so the Cubs do load the bases here in the 4th inning, looking for a big inning. They're down 8-1. Don Johnson, the hitter, with the bases loaded, 2 outs. Johnson's going to line it to second, but the play made there nicely by White to the bag for the out. The Cubs held only to 1 run in the inning. That's going to be far from enough at this point. And into the 9th inning, an emphatic scoreline, an emphatic box score. It is 15-1 Royals. Boy, have they come to play here in Game 7, and with 1 out here in the 9th. After 20 hits, the Cubs mercifully look like they're coming to an end. Dennis Leonard facing Andy Papko now. Papko goes up the middle. There's a base hit for the Cubs outfielder. The bases will be loaded here with a 1 out. The Royals fans just waiting for their moment of celebration. Phil Cavaretta at the plate. He pops it up here. This should be playable. Coming over there in left field is going to be Motley. The runner will tag inconsequential there. 15-2. Johnson now with 2 outs. Here's the 2-2 pitch. This is hit back to second. Play will be made there by White. Celebrations at Royal Stadium. What a comeback by the Royals. Down 3-1. They win 3 in a row and take Game 7 15-2, making absolutely no doubt of their intention. They put 7 runs up in the 3rd inning and emphatically end this series. Paul Derringer really got hammered. Young Brett Saberhagen proves his mettle, comes through, pitching into the 9th inning, only 1 earned run. He allowed 5 hits. Great game for Saberhagen to get the win in Game 7. Pat Sheridan caps a great series, 2 for 3, a double, 2 RBI, 3 runs scored. And Frank White, what a game he had, both offensively and defensively, 4 for 5, 4 RBIs in this big game, 2 runs scored, player of the game, Frank White. The 84 Royals, one of the rare feats here that we've seen in all of our series is to come back from a big deficit of 3-1 and win the series. Hats off to Kansas City. Boy, there were times that looked like they were out of it, but that 15-inning game, I think, turned the momentum of the series. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Game number 5 was the difference, and they came back and got the job done there. Number-wise for the Cubs, you can see here the bats had a little bit of a rough time. They did have some outstanding pitching. That's all you can say about Claude Passaw. I mean, the man was 1-0 with 18 scoreless innings, allowed 12 hits, and struck out 17. But the hitting, the high RBI man there, Bill Nicholson, he hit a home run early in the series in Game 1, and that was pretty much it. So the Cubs hitting really was the power in this one, but you can't say enough about Claude Passaw. What a series he had for the Royals. Looking at their numbers, Pat Sheridan hit .360 for the series with 2 homers. Frank White, .344. Looking further down there, George Brett definitely struggled, .194. 1984 just wasn't his year. Quisenberry with a nice series. Saberhagen also with a 1.88 ERA in this series, getting it done. The youngster with great promise. And the MVP, we're going to give it to Pat Sheridan, but boy, Claude Passaw on a losing effort definitely deserves consideration, but Sheridan's the winner. He had a great series in the outfield and also especially at the plate, hitting .360 with a .448 on base, OPS of 1.1, 5 RBIs, 2 home runs, 6 runs scored, even a stolen base. Great series for Pat. And he came through in Game 7 as well as Frank White to make the difference in the thrashing win, 15-2. That'll do it. You do have to give the 1944 Cubs credit. They sure battled it out under Charlie Grimm, who led them in a nice effort. They just came up a little bit short. They had their chance there in that long marathon game at Wrigley Field, but just in the end, really couldn't hit Claude Passaw. That's what it came down to for them. For Dick Hauser and the Royals, they'll move on. A very nice win. They can be proud of themselves. They were determined to get it done and did exactly that. So Just as you might expect, Series 150, a milestone series, was a great one, a very entertaining one, an exciting one, all the way to Game 7 for our entertainment. The Park Baseball 20 never lets down, and we had another great series. So that's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed this one. I sure did. Series 150, the 1984 Kansas City Royals defeat the 1944 Chicago Cubs in 7 games in dramatic fashion to move on. Thanks for joining us. Hope you continue to stay with us. We will be back with you shortly, and talk to you later.